Visa. Man måste börja med här nu. Och så tar man den här sidan och så sätter man. Ja, sådär. Nej. Sådär var det. Ser du så? Där.
Let the Right One In is a Swedish vampire film that's directed by Thomas Alfredson. So this is a film that came out in 2008, and I'm reviewing it because it won last week's patron poll, and I'm finally going to put up another patron poll probably tomorrow night, so be on the lookout for that. If you're not a $1 patron and would love to vote on these polls, I would love to have you on board. The link is always in the description box below. But anywho, this is a film that I haven't really known about for all that long. I think I've known it for maybe a year now, just because I think I've heard Perry mention it a few times. But this is a film that I really wasn't, running to see this film. Because, I'm not somebody who is super huge into vampire films. I don't hate them or anything. I don't dislike them. But it's not something that, really, really gets a lot of enthusiasm out of me. But that being said, I went into this film with somewhat high expectations because a lot of people that I respect really, really enjoyed this film. And now that I've seen it, guys, I think that they're all right because this was a really, really beautiful film. And this film accomplished a lot that I didn't really expect because I heard that this was a great love story. And just from that alone, I'm a little cautious and a bit skeptical because if not done right, it can be really cheesy and can really drag the film down a whole lot. But I gotta say, the love story that's presented in this film was so effective for me, and it really resonated with me a lot more than I expected because I just found it to be so wholesome and just really heartfelt and innocent in a lot of ways. And I think it's partly because the love story that's explored here is adolescent love. And it's also coming of age as well. And the way that these characters grow and the dynamic that's explored in this film, I thought was just dynamite. It just really, really worked. And I was really, really impressed by it. But that being said, don't go into this thinking that this is a light, magical kids type of vampire movie because it's not. This film gets pretty heavy. Some of the content is pretty graphic and violent, and it's also just a really mature and subtle approach to the vampire genre. Because with a film like Thirst, which I also have a review for, if you want to check that out, go ahead, I'll put it at the end screen of this video. That film, even though I really, really enjoyed it, it definitely, that's a film that I would describe contains everything that a vampire fanatic would want out of a vampire movie. Especially with the whole, graphic sexuality type of stuff. This film holds back on that and creates something that is still really effective and feels like it doesn't really have to really shove all of these vampire conventions down your throat to be a really effective movie. I mean, the vampire conventions are still certainly there, but it's approached in a lot more of a delicate and subdued type of way. Because a lot of the way that this film is directed reminded me a lot of how Denis Villeneuve would direct a film. The cinematography and the direction of it isn't flashy. This film does a lot without doing too much. And there are just a lot of shots where there are just these really slow pans that kind of occur throughout the entire scene as certain things unfold. And there's also plenty of scenes that are just these stationary shots where the entire action of the scene will unfold. And it's just really effective because it approaches it with the whole less is more style because it's all about how you do it. And I feel like the vision for this film in terms of its execution really held up, and I couldn't be happier with the stylistic approach of this film. And there's just a nice handful of really emotional moments that really worked for me, because there's one moment in particular involving the father of somebody and the kind of sacrifice he makes, not only in that scene, but throughout the film, for his daughter, is something that I haven't quite seen in a vampire film specifically. And the way that it approached his character, was just not only heartfelt, but a bit tragic. But it's a really emotionally effective arc. It's a really emotionally effective scene. But I will say this. There is one scene in this film that involves the use of CGI cats that I just couldn't get behind. I was buying it for maybe like the first half of the scene, but then what it builds up to, was just really over the top and cheesy and didn't really seem to fit the kind of approach this film was going for throughout the entire film. And it just seemed out of place. And I feel like that scene could have been approached in a whole different kind of way and still would have been effective. And I'm just not a fan of the use of CGI cats. Like, it was just like a thing that came out of left field. And I'm not here for that. But overall, I think this is a really impressive piece of filmmaking. It's the most wholesome and emotionally effective vampire film that I've personally ever seen. I love the kind of less is more subdued stylistic approach that I thought was really effective. And it still contains not all, but a good majority of the vampire conventions that somebody would want out of a vampire film, just lacking a lot of that graphic sexuality, but really works in its favor for this type of film. And just the maturing process and the kind of dark coming of age fairy tale type of story that's told here, I thought was really well executed. And I was certainly emotionally invested into what was happening. So I'm going to give Let the Right One In an 8.5 out of 10. This is definitely a film that I want to own on Blu-ray. And this is a film that I can really see myself coming back to many times. Like, honestly, just talking about it makes you want to just pop it in and watch it. I don't own it, so I can't pop anything in, but I'll rent it on Amazon or something. But either way, what are your thoughts on Let the Right One In? I don't know anybody's thoughts on this besides Perry's. I know that he loves it. But I want to know what all you guys think about this film if you have seen it. If you haven't seen it, does this review make you want to see it now? Let me know in the comment section. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about Let the Right One In, please give this video a thumbs up, share it amongst your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.